So, ultimately you come to know that these directive principles actually aim at establishing a welfare state. All right. Now, our next point is the independent judiciary. All right. Now, you have to understand what is independent judiciary. The independent judiciary means free judiciary. All right. The judiciary has been kept separate from the control of the executive and the legislature. All right. So that the judiciary of this country can act independently and freely. All right. And therefore, we have established an independent judiciary. Now, you know, the Supreme Court and High Court are the independent judiciary in this country, and this has been done, as I just told you, to promote the sense of justice, so that these judiciary can dispense their justice absolutely neutrally and impartially. It doesn't matter even their decision go against the government. They can take action against the government as well. So that shows it's absolutely free and independent and impartial. All right. Now, the government, the constitution has laid down some ways so that the judiciary can be kept independent. And for that reason, you know, you see that there are certain criteria. Number one is, you see that these judges, they are appointed by a neutral authority, that is the President of India. All right? They are appointed by the President of India. Second, that they are given their salary from a different fund, that is called consolidated fund of India. All right. So their salaries and all other amenities and dearness allowances or all other privileges in terms of money are actually given from this consolidated fund, and this fund is not subject to voting of the Parliament of India. All right. Third is, they do not have a term of say 5 years, 6 years or 4 years. All right. The criteria is, once they are appointed, all right, as judges of Supreme Court and High Court, they retire at the age of 65 and 62 respectively. All right, 62 for Supreme Court, 65 for Supreme Court, 62 for High Courts. All right. Now, apart from that, you know, they cannot be removed also easily. All right. They can only be removed, no doubt, by a parliamentary process, which is not very easy. You know, for that, a resolution will have to be passed by giving a 14 days notice, all right, and 1/4 of a house has to initiate the removal of a judge, all right, and thereafter it will have to be passed by two-third majority of the total strength of that house, and of course present and voting. All right, and thereafter the same process will have to be followed in the next house. All right, and that is how a judge of the Supreme Court or a judge of the High Court can be removed. All right, that is why this process is a very difficult process. All right, and that is why not a single judge has yet been removed. And this removal of the judges is called, in the language of political science, as impeachment. So, in other words, you can say they cannot be impeached very, very easily. It's a very difficult process. So, these have all been done, you see, all right, so as to keep them free and independent, so that they can dispense proper and impartial justice to the citizen of this country. All right, and from here we are getting into the last point, that is the establishment of welfare, establishment of a welfare state. All right. See, as I told you while teaching you about directive principles, that the directive principles that have been laid down in the Constitution of India, its basic aim is to create a welfare state in India. I will tell you in a very simple language, so that maximum welfare could be done to the to the people of this country. All right. And for that reason, you see, the directive principles, in fact, as I told you earlier also, that many, all right, many directive principles have been converted into action. You see, lots of job has been have been done by the government in order to create a welfare state. As per example, the nationalization of banks. All right, the nationalization of banks, nationalization of insurance company, all right, withdrawal of the privy purse, from which the erstwhile rulers were being given pension. These are all wrong, you see, in accordance with the spirit of the Constitution of India. So, the privy purse was also deleted. On the top of that, you see, lots of other welfare jobs are being done. You see, even today, you find even the previous prime ministers like Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Mr. Manmohan Singh, and even presently Mr. Narendra Modi have been following so many welfare schemes. As per example, I will tell you the Manrega scheme. All right, or the various other schemes that helps the poor section of this country, the weaker section of the country, all right, so as to create a welfare state. Okay. Now, in this welfare state, you see, it was particularly kept in mind that through these welfare activities, the social and economic equality is preserved. It is done particularly so as to preserve the social and economic equality in the country. All right, so that the democratic socialism becomes successful in this country. Okay, boys, that's it. And as per assignment, boys, you follow this book, the Indian Civics, Indian School Civics, or your own book, and do all the questions with reference to your syllabus. Don't do anything that is not in your syllabus. I am not separately writing of all these things here because of the paucity of time, because of the dearth of time. All right, so you can do it yourself. All right, thank you. Chalo, yes, stay here.